Hi, I'm Charlotte and this is Tired Mama Tries to Read. I'm coming to you from a different place than normal, not on my little perch in my living room. I am in my shed. It's a new shed that my lovely husband has built for me. Well, it was already a shed and it had lots of tools and many spiders, which is okay. I really like spiders. But yeah, in an act of generosity, he's given it to me and he's redone the whole interior out of all reclaimed bits of pallet. You can see the door is an old door from his childhood home, so yeah, it's really lovely. When it's finished, by which I mean when I filled it full of things, I might give you a tour if you're even vaguely interested, but I'll definitely put some pictures up on Instagram because it's so Instagrammable, even right now with hardly anything in it. So yeah, okay. I've got 3 books to review today. The first one is a book you will have seen everywhere, The Mars Room by Rachel Kushner. So I'd not read any Rachel Kushner before now. What's this? The Flamethrowers. Yeah, The Flamethrowers and Telex from Cuba. So I'll be ordering those either through my library or if I ever get money again, because this was amazing. I've seen nothing but glowing reviews for it, and I can understand why. It's if you didn't know the background story, it's about a woman called Romy Hall who is given 2 back-to-back life sentences for bludgeoning to death a man on her doorstep, and obviously comes as no surprise to find out that, you know, although she did do that, her motives were, you know, for various reasons, and she certainly shouldn't be serving any kind of sentence for what happened, or if she is serving a sentence, it certainly shouldn't be 2 back-to-back life sentences. So it's quite a traumatic read in the sense of she's separated from her son. So I think that's the thing that I found the most difficult. It's obviously going to be very upsetting to be in prison, to have lost your life to a prison, especially when you didn't deserve to do that. But I found it difficult because of the fact that she's thinking of her little boy, who she now has no legal rights to. So she doesn't have any legal right to know where he is, who he's with, what he's doing, nothing. Yeah, it's. I had to put the book down about 3/4 of the way through for exactly that reason. I had to have a little cry and a bit of a pull myself together moment. I think because, and I've mentioned this elsewhere, it made me think of the refugees in America that have been caught up in the American legal system, and the mothers have been separated from their children. And I mean, we've all found that difficult to watch, but this for me felt the same. Yeah, I mean, I need to educate myself on the prison system because it's not good. The prose is amazing. There are some incredible insights within the narrative. The character of Romy Hall is really interesting because she doesn't really give very much away, which I think is Rachel Kushner's genius way of saying it doesn't even matter if the person is super nice or super likable, it's still not fair what's happened to them. So even though she's quite a distant character, I still really cared about what happened to her. Yeah, all the characters in it are really interesting. If I have any complaints at all, it's a complaint that seems small but is actually, I see it all, well, I've seen it several times, and it gets on my nerves. That is when trans characters are introduced even as just background characters, that's fine, but when the fact that they are trans is part of the plot that drives the main character towards whatever path they're going down, I don't like it. I just feel it's a bit tokenistic, and it's using their identity as trans in order to further the plot. So there's a couple of characters in here who are trans characters. There's one trans male, one trans female, and both of them in one way or another serve to forward Romy's progress along her path, and I don't like it. So it's not a little complaint, but if you remove that complaint, the text is incredible and I would definitely read her again. But I think we need to say out loud more often, yeah, thanks for including trans people, but I don't think this helps. You know, the only book where I've ever really seen trans characters portrayed well, so in my experience, I need to read a lot more books of trans characters, obviously, but was Hanya Yanagihara's book, A Little Life, where the plot is just, the text, sorry, is just full of trans characters, gay characters, a lot of racial diversity. It's just not an issue. It's just part of the text, and that was amazing. They were who they were. The text mentions it, but it has no bearing on the person they turn out being or the plot at large. I think we need more of that. Okay, so that's that one. The second one I read is Samantha Irby's book. This is We Are Never Meeting in Real Life. This was gifted to me by my friend Unity, and thank you so much because I really enjoyed it. It was a really light read after having read some fairly emotionally draining books. So this is a collection of essays. Samantha Irby has a blog called Bitches Gotta Eat, and she covers all sorts of day-to-day life topics: love, sexuality, food, body positivity, work, trying to find somewhere to live, yeah, all sorts of different things. And I would read some of it out, but I just wouldn't do it justice. It is laugh out loud funny. I don't often say that, but it genuinely does make you giggle. And it's also very serious in some places. It really covered, like, the body positivity issues, that happens all the way through the book. I feel like there's quite a lot of bits where that occurs, and they're really, really good. They're, you know, she's sort of saying, and she has a disability, so this comes from that perspective as well. You know, it's her body, and she's using it to make her way through life. She's not letting it dominate her. So whilst obviously her disability holds her back in certain ways, she tries not to see it like that. Similarly, she feels that people look at her and think that she's fat and lazy and things like that. And she defends herself and says, you know, this is my body and it's already working on an uphill struggle because of my disability. And if I want to eat something, I'm going to eat something. She just justifies being who you want to be in a way that it seems so obvious that we should all act like that, but she puts it in a very eloquent yet funny way. So I would thoroughly recommend it. I know she's got another collection out called Meaty, so I'll have to get that as well. And then the third one that I'm going to review is Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. So this was part of my POC-a-thon commitments, which I knew I wasn't going to do in a week. I knew that from the get-go. I'm trying to read them by the end of the year. I enjoyed this one, but I did find it a real struggle. Even though it's a very slim read, and even though I did fly through it in the second half, just the whole issues that it concerns, you know, it's about white missionaries coming in and basically destroying a culture that should really just be existing completely separately to theirs, but they come in and they think they can do better and all the rest of it. And it's also difficult as well because Achebe's writing is, I mean, he doesn't shy away from portraying the village and the people within that village, especially Okonkwo, who's the main character. He doesn't shy away from portraying them, warts and all. So there's amazing descriptions of the ceremonies they go through, of the family closeness, of the kind of communal spirit and the hospitality that they show. But then similarly, there's quite vivid descriptions of the beatings that go on, particularly Okonkwo beats his wives. There's obviously polygamy is considered completely normal, which to a sort of Western reader is difficult to get over. And you know, the hardest thing, I think, which comes very early on in the book, so it's not a spoiler, it's just things like twins being a sign of evil, and so those babies are left in this haunted wood to die. I found that really hard. So in that respect, it's not a book that I will be reading again, but I am very glad that the POC-a-thon gave me a reason to read a book that's been sitting around on my shelves for a decade, and it is a classic for a reason. I can see why it is. The fourth book I've just started, but I wanted to show you anyway. So this is Sarah Waters' The Paying Guests, and I picked this up in a charity shop in like a National Trust building, and it's signed, which is always nice. Yeah, so Sarah Waters writes a lot of historical fiction. The ones that I've read are kind of set in, well, the ones I've read I think are set in Victorian London. This one is later. This is set post First World War. There are often, from what I've read, there are often lesbian characters, and this seems to be no different. I feel like we're setting up for a lesbian romance, and yeah, it's really, really good. The prose is beautiful, and I need something that is not. And it sounds really bad, I need something that's not about social justice issues. I think I've read so much in the last year on these hardcore issues, which are really, really relevant, but I need to give myself a break and also read something that's just pure pleasure. And I've forgotten a bit how to do that in the last few months. So yeah, if you've read any Sarah Waters, let me know. If you've read this one, let me know. The only one I think I've read, it's not Tipping the Velvet, because that's what they made on TV. Oh no, it was The Fingersmith they did on TV, wasn't it? So maybe I've read Tipping the Velvet. Oh, I can't remember. It's one of those ways round. Anyway, so those are my current reads and reviews for the last month. And the next video I'll do will be a little library haul video. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.